Alright, today we're going to take a look at how to create a presentation document in Google Drive. You'll see that I've already signed into my Google Drive account, and now I go to the Create button and click, and you will see that the menu pops open, and I'm going to choose a presentation style document. When you choose a presentation, one of the first things that you'll see is a dialog box that pops up prompting you to choose a theme. You can scroll down through these themes and you'll see there's quite a selection of them here. Some of them are very colorful. For the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to choose this one called Light Gradient. You'll see that all of these presentation themes have a background and a slightly different style font that has been pre-designed to work with each one of these themes. The Light Gradient theme has a background that goes from gray to white in the center and has a nice big bold black font. So I will click on it to choose it and then click on the OK button. Then Google Docs will format my new presentation for me. And as you can see on the screen, my slide has the bright white area in the middle and it fades to a gray toward the edges. Now on the screen I want to point out a couple of things. Here at the top, of course, since this is a brand new presentation, it is labeled as an untitled presentation. We can double click here and give it a new name just the way we did in word processing. Just below that you'll see all of the menus that we have access to use this program. Clicking on the menus gives you access to the commands in each one of these menus. I'm not going to go through each of the menus here. You should be pretty much familiar with these kinds of things to begin with. Plus, just about everything that you need to do to create a presentation is included in the toolbar here. So we'll take a closer look at the toolbar. Here along the left-hand side of the screen you'll see this thumbnail image that represents the screen that I'm working on. As you add more slides to your presentation, you will see the thumbnails appear in this section of the screen. This large part of the screen here is the work area, and this rectangle here represents the slide that you're going to make. The very first slide in every presentation is what we call a title slide. The title slide, as you can see, has two text areas here. One labeled Click to Add Title, and another one with a different font that says Click to Add Subtitle. So I'm going to make a presentation about how to choose a pet dog for your family. So I will type in my title. And I encourage people to put some information about themselves in the subtitle. So that's what I'll do here. Now if I want to add a third line to this text, it looks like there's not enough room in this text block. But don't worry, just press return and keep typing. It will work just fine. And you will see that as I add bits of text to this slide, that they also show up over here in the thumbnail view as well. There's an additional part of the screen down here that reads Click to Add Notes. This is called the Speaker's Notes area, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Now that I've created my title slide, it's time to add another new slide to my presentation. If you go up to the upper left-hand corner here, you will see the New Slide button. And if I click on this plus tool, you'll see it automatically adds a new slide. However, here in the work area, you'll notice that this slide has a different layout. It has a title area text block at the top and another larger text block down here at the bottom of the screen. Again, all you have to do is point and click to add text to these text blocks. Now this style slide is great for displaying an outline or some kind of an agenda for your presentation. So all I need to do is point and click and begin typing. Now another thing you can do with this text is to change its formatting. An agenda sometimes looks nice if it's set up as a bulleted list. To take this text and change it to a bulleted list, I'm going to highlight it to begin with. Then over here on the right-hand side of the screen, I'll click on this More menu, and this is where you'll find the spot where I can turn this into a bulleted list. Alright, now I'm going to add another new slide to my presentation. But this time, instead of just clicking on the plus, I'm going to click on the little arrow that you see next to the plus. This gives me a pull-down menu with a selection of other kinds of slide layouts that I can use. Here's the title slide layout that I used for the first slide in the presentation. Here's one called Title and Body. That's the style of slide I used for the second slide. This next one is called Title and 2 columns, and you'll see this is set up for 2 columns of text. There's another one here that says Title Only. This has a text block on it for a title, but you'll see the rest of the screen is blank, and you can put anything you want in that part of the screen. Here's another very similar type of slide, except that you'll see it has a text block at the bottom for putting in a caption. And then finally, we have a blank page that you can design from scratch. I'm going to choose the blank page and show you how you can customize this page and add anything you want. I'll begin with a spot to type in some text. To do that, click on the text box tool. Your cursor will then turn into a crosshair. You can now click and drag anywhere on the slide and define an area to type text in. Notice that the text box that I've just drawn is blue, and it has square corners along the sides and corners of the box. These handles can now be used to change the size of this text block. You can click directly on the blue line to simply change the location of the box without changing its size or shape. Click inside the box to place your cursor, and then you can just begin typing. You can also style your text by highlighting it and choosing a font from the font menu. Choose a size from the size menu. You can also choose to make the text bold, italic, underlined, or we can change the text color by clicking here. I'll choose a nice bright red color so that you can see just how easy it is to change the color of your text. Notice that when I click off the text that the blue box disappears. If we want to go back to editing that text or reformatting it, just double click. You will get your box back again, and you can highlight your text, reformat it, retype, just as if you were working in word processing. Now I might like to also add a photograph or an illustration to this slide. To do that, I'll go back to my toolbar and click on the Image tool. When you click on the Image tool, you will get this dialog box that prompts you to drag an image here. What you can do is drag an image file from your computer into this box, and it will automatically be uploaded to Google Docs and placed in your slideshow. Or you can simply click on this button and then choose a file from the dialog box, and that's what I'm going to do. You'll see that it automatically takes me to my Pictures folder, and you'll see that I have a dog picture saved right here. So I select that file, click Open, and it will begin the upload process, sending my file to Google Docs. And here you can see it automatically places that photograph right on my slide. You'll also notice that the photograph covers up the text that I just placed there. As you can see, the picture also has the blue selection box around the outside and square handles on the corners and along the sides. If you drag the corner handle, it allows you to scale the image without distorting it. Clicking inside the image and dragging allows you to place the image anywhere you want. So by a combination of clicking and dragging on the image and clicking and dragging on the text will allow me to rearrange these elements on the screen so that they look just the way I want them to. I'm going to create another new blank slide so that I can demonstrate some of the drawing tools that are built into the presentation style document. Here you'll see that we can draw shapes and lines. First, I'll begin by drawing a simple shape. We have 4 different categories of shapes, and they are shapes, arrows, callouts, and equation symbols. This is great for math teachers. I'm going to demonstrate using a simple rectangle shape here. You'll see that when I click on it, it becomes selected, and now my cursor becomes crosshairs again. You click and drag on the screen to create the box. Again, you can see by the selection box here that this is selected. I can further modify this again by simply clicking and dragging on these handles to change the size and shape of the box I've drawn. I can also click on the inside of the box and move it around on the screen anywhere I want to go. Now it's also a nice feature to be able to change the colors of this shape, and for that we go back to the toolbar, and you'll see that the paint bucket tool here allows me to change the fill color for this box. So when I click here, a color palette comes up. I'll choose a nice bright green color so that we can see that, and you'll see that the box gets filled with green. In order to change the line color, I'll point to the pencil tool, and just to contrast with the green, I'll choose red. Now you'll see after I've chosen the red color, it really doesn't show up very well on the screen. If I click off of the box, you'll see it becomes unselected, and you can see a little bit of the red line around the outside. If I want to see that a little better, I'll click back on the square. You'll see it becomes selected. Now I'll move to this next menu here, which is called the Line Weight menu. When I click on this, I can choose different thicknesses for this line, and you'll see it's labeled in terms of pixels. I'll choose 12 pixels, and now you can see we've got a nice big bold line around my shape. The same procedure works with all of the shapes that you see in the Shapes menu here. Let me show you some other advanced features for editing these shapes. I'm going to choose one of these arrow shapes from the Arrows menu and click and drag to create an arrow on the screen. Now when I lift up off my mouse button, you'll see that this arrow has 2 additional handles on it. There's one here on the tip of the arrow head, and another one here at the base of the arrow's shaft, if you will. Clicking and dragging on these little handles, little diamond-shaped handles, allow you to edit the shape of the arrow. You'll see that this one changes the size of the arrowhead. This one changes the width of the arrow's shaft. And again, we can use the corner handles to change the size of that shape once we have figured out how big we want it to be. We can use the same tools as we used before for changing the fill color and the line as well. There's one more handle that maybe you've noticed, and it's this round one at the top. Whenever something is selected, you'll see this round handle. That's there so that when you click on it and drag it, it allows you to rotate the shape. In fact, we can do this with text fields as well. Watch this. I'm going to click back here on slide number 3. I can click on my text field here, and again you see this little handle at the top, and this will allow me to rotate the text. So there we have some beginning techniques for placing text, graphics, and some shapes on your presentation. We'll talk more in the next demonstration.